Dayna Ingram is a writer and student living in the Bay Area. She received her BA in creative writing from Antioch College in 2008 and is currently working on her MFA in creative writing at San Francisco State University. Her zombie novella, Eat Your Heart Out, is available from Lethe Press. Please welcome Dayna.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit from Eat Your Heart Out, my lesbians versus zombies novella. Can you hear me? Before I start, I'm going to read the back because I didn't write this blurb and I think it's hilarious. Okay. A breakneck tale of kick-ass, wise-ass, sexy-ass lesbians and zombies, all caps. Eat Your Heart Out opens on what promises to be another tediously annoying day at Ashby's Furniture Outlet. Then the strip mall calm of Nowhere, Ohio is shattered by the sudden, simultaneous appearance of Rennie Ramirez, hyper-competent star of the beloved Rising Evil B-movie franchise, and actual zombies, all caps, leaving Ashby's hapless staff and Rennie trapped behind an automatic door they can't lock. Can failed creative writing student, apprentice store manager, eagle-eyed markswoman Devin escape the besieged furniture store to rescue her girlfriend? Will Rennie's experience uttering motion-captured CGI monsters save the day before the army bombs the town? Once bitten, how many zombies could a person expect to take out before succumbing to an infection? All of these questions and more whisper behind the screen of the single most important thing Devin needs to know in order to survive. Is Rennie a top or a bottom? Okay, so I'm going to read from chapter 4. It's called A Bird in the Hand is Worth Two if You're Dead. As we head down Main Street, it is clear that something bad has happened. Like birds taking flight from trees during an antelope stampede, human people have spontaneously fled their morning routines or obligations, leaving behind their debris. Coffee cups and half-eaten crawlers at the outdoor cafes, dog-eared books strewn across the threshold of mixed-use books, renegade oranges rolling out of dropped shopping bags in the parking lot of Whole Foods. Cars have piled up in both lanes, causing blockages that Rennie deftly snakes around by angling her bike onto the sidewalk. Doors to shops have carelessly been left open, strollers abandoned, and in two tragic instances, tiny yapping dogs left tied to fire hydrants. We start to hear the cause of this desertion before we see it. The underwater swell of the choking rattle, then the steady rise of the deep, monotone moan. Rennie pulls up behind a ditch Tacoma and cuts the bike's engine. Without the hog's loud roar, the horde's collective moan grows, even though they are still 3 blocks up. I see them surrounding the store at the corner of Main and Lemon Tree. 20 or 30 of them, pressed together like pigs in a slaughterhouse. Flesh slapping, jaws dripping, hands clawing, mouths moaning. Fucking zombies. Above their heads hangs the hand-painted wooden sign for the Sweet Onion, a white chalk drawing of an onion that used to just be a plain old onion when this was a mom-and-pop grocery store, but now it has a face. One arched cartoon brow, one suggestively winking eye, a touch of red to mark two innocently black, bashful cheeks. The owners of the now adult store, decided to keep the name and the original sign with those slight alterations to the onion, and this, a slogan painted in sweeping calligraphy that reads, "Layers of fun!" Rennie looks at me over her shoulder. What do you want to do? Go in, I say. Carmel is trapped inside that store, and maybe if it were still a grocery store, I wouldn't have to worry too much about her. What better place to hole up during a zombie attack, right? Except maybe a hospital. But racks of hentai DVDs and variously flavored lube aren't going to sustain her for long. Besides that, there's a huge blacked-out window in the front of the store that won't stand up to those undead fists pounding on it all day. All right, Rambo, Rennie says. You want to charge in, bare fists flying? Be my guest. Stupidly, I look at my hands, clench my fists a few times, then drop them at my sides. You're right, we need a distraction. She shakes her head, all-knowing. Not going to be enough this time, too many of them. And whatever's in there, they want it bad. Listen. I listen, and she's right. Aside from their own slobbering moans, there's a plethora of natural and man-made alarms sounding off all over these blocks. Dogs barking, televisions left on in storefront windows, car engines running, a few car alarms going off. This group of zombies is a hell of a lot more focused than the last group we evaded. Okay, I nod, thinking. Okay, then, weapons, Rennie says. We need lots and lots of weapons. Guns, preferably. I don't have a gun, I say, like she's nuts. She takes her sunglasses off specifically to roll her eyes at me. Are you kidding me? I've seen at least 12 pickups sporting truck nuts in just these last few blocks alone. Look right there. She points at the tailgate of the Tacoma in front of us. Sure enough, hanging from the back bumper like an afterthought, a bright blue plastic scrotum. Ratio of truck nuts to guns and ammo stores in a town this small has got to be, what, 6 to 1? Her logic is sound. There is one over on Geary Street, and if you open a savings account at Third National, they give you a free hunting rifle. She laughs at me and starts to hug. We'll try Geary first. Geary is a few streets over, this block abandoned as well, though not quite as hurriedly. Quick Shot Guns and Ammo shares a rectangular parking lot with 2 other stores, a Check and Go and Quick Shot Liquors. Some years ago there was talk of putting in a Quick Shot mini golf course across the street, but the town ultimately decided against adding to the confusion. Lucky for us, whoever runs Quick Shot Guns also ran away when the zombies attacked. All we need to get in is the brick Rennie has somehow managed to find and is now lobbing at the front window. As it shatters, an alarm goes off, and I scream, "Are you crazy? Not a bad thing if the cops show up, is it?" Rennie shrugs, picks away some excess glass with her combat boot, and steps over the sill and into the store. I have to get used to the new rules of this sudden reality. Alarms are okay as long as no zombies are around, or if you're trying to distract zombies. Breaking and entering is okay as long as it is in service to taking down zombies. Killing is okay as long as the people are already dead. Check, and oh god, I think I'm gonna puke. A wave of nausea slams into me as I gingerly climb into the sill, avoiding the broken glass shards. Once on the floor, I have to kneel down to fight back the urge to vomit, but I pretend to be inspecting the handguns in the window display. I can hear Rennie in the store behind me, picking up guns and clicking their chambers open, then opening doors behind the counter, rummaging for bullets. When she comes back over to me, I stand up. She hands me a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun. "You okay?" "Sure." I burp and wipe my mouth. Rennie looks at me dubiously, and I take the shotgun. "Ever shoot before?" she asks. I open the extended magazine and load up 6 shells from the box Rennie holds out to me, slap the mag back in place, and load around into the chamber. "Buck hunting trips every other summer since I was 10. Must have a pretty cool dad," she says. I grab a box of ammunition from her. My mom took me. We load up, filling a backpack with extra rounds and packing 2 handguns apiece, one .22 rifle with a sight for Rennie, and my trusty rosewood shotgun. In addition, Rennie insists we carry melee weapons. For her, 2 butterfly knives, a hatchet she shoves through her belt loop, and a break glass only in emergencies axe, for what she fashions a sort of sling from her belt and straps it to her back. For me, an 8-inch hunting knife safely secured in a leather sheath tied around my waist with light nylon rope, 2 pair of brass knuckles, wear one now, save one for later, and police-issue baton secured to my back with the same rope. I feel encumbered, but I also feel empowered. Then I think about all the carnage we're about to expose ourselves to, we're about to cause, and all the zombies we're about to bash in, if they really are zombies, we're all once people. "What happened, do you think?" I asked Rennie as we're loading up her bike's saddlebags and with extra guns and ammo. "With what?" I gestured to the world with my eyes. "With them, the zombies." Rennie looks around at nothing in particular, then back at me. "What always happens? Someone got stupid or bored or creative. Voila." "You think someone made the zombies?" "I don't know. Let's hear your explanation." I look around at the same nothing as Rennie and come back with just as much of an idea. "I don't have one." "Great." Rennie drops a leg over the bike. "Try Carmel one more time." I dialed her cell and then the store. Nothing. Rennie tosses me her bike helmet. "Saddle up, partner." That's awesome. I'm just going to read a really short, strange thing that I wrote. It's possibly from a novella called Off Your Chest. Who knows? I wait to bring it up until he is naked under the covers, waiting for me. "What did you say?" "You heard me." People in movies are always saying that. "You heard me." After proposing something shocking and sexy to their partners. I have said it in 6 of my movies. The first when I was 15, playing 13, and my character propositioned her priest in the confessional. Even though we're in my boyfriend's bedroom, which last month officially became our bedroom, somehow saying all this out loud, telling him my fantasy like this, makes the room seem smaller, confessional size. I wish my boyfriend was behind a thick curtain or a wire mesh partition, so I could only see his face in profile, blurred and shadowed skin, and not his eyes at all. I wish he were a priest, so I would not feel like the only one with something to confess. At first, he ignores my request, and we go on like we always do. Him starting on top until his elbows start to shake, and then rolling me on top of him for the final act. When I'm on top of him, I hover above his lap and repeat my request again. "I'm serious," I say. "Jesus." He laughs and looks away from me, wiping sweat from his forehead. I rake my fingers through his chest hair and purr like an adult movie star. "I can't believe you," he says. "You won't even let me, use the back door, and now you want this?" I I tell him, this is an extension of that. How the fuck is this an extension of that? I explain it to him. I use my sexy voice, which employs a French accent courtesy of the dialect coach on my first soap opera. I lean in close to his ear and push out my warm breath and feel his skin heating up beneath my hands. The more I talk, the harder he gets, so that I'm afraid he will burst before we even really start. Finally, he chokes out a single word, okay. I start by kissing and rubbing his chest and nipples and stroking his penis with my thigh. I purr for him and his entire body burns for me. I kiss him deeply and thank him, and he closes his eyes and lets his head relax against the pillow. I draw my bottom from his lap to his chest, lingering above his breastbone. My breasts sway a little beyond his head, and he opens his eyes and strains to look past them to my face. I tell him to close his eyes again, and he does, and I do the same, and then I clench and push and release. 3 cotton ball-sized poops fall onto his chest. They make a sound like a hollow ping pong ball slapping against a plastic paddle. One rolls down his stomach and lodges in his belly button. The other 2 roll down his side and nestle somewhere near his right armpit. My anus expels a little gas, and then that is all. It is not exactly how I imagined it would be. But still, I am wet, and I want him to fuck me, but he won't. I have to take a shower. But Daniel, clean this up, will you? He won't look at me. He goes into the bathroom. I lie down on the bed and touch myself. A piece of my excrement rolls along the underside of my knee. I think about how next time I will eat some prunes or take a partial laxative so that my poop will be softer, gentler, more inviting.